you can now run this business by remote control.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
And this is what we're gonna touch base because we all want to become an entrepreneur. We want to make a million. We want to become a millionaire, but nobody thinking right that there is a second point to the story, because it's not about how much money you make; it's how much money you keep it and what will be your exit. So there is a misconception of entrepreneurs, right? That uh, we start a business, yeah, and because we don't have experience and we just don't know, we have sometimes the belief that the business will last forever, that the business is gonna outlast you, right? And entrepreneurs get married to the business because if I don't do this business, what am I gonna do with my life? So, and I'll tell you a story in this podcast. One of the person that I interview, we find out a person that been offered millions for his business, and the guy, which is very good price, and the guy doesn't want to sell it. The guy, no, this is not the offer, and everybody's asking me, sell it. They're giving you good money for it. It's time to let it go. And we find out that the person didn't want to sell it because he's thinking, well, this is a working class neighborhood. I'm gonna be the only millionaire, multimillionaire in the neighborhood. What these people gonna think about me? What I gonna do? They're not gonna want to hang out with me anymore, and I don't know anybody else. So it was a lot of in the and this happened. A lot of people talk about how to deal with failure. Nobody talks about how to deal with success. So, Dari, what challenges have you facing in that stage where the entrepreneurs, they're facing resistance to actually exit? They want to sell it, but really, um, it's a part of them that say, "Well, if I sell it, what do I do after?" So, tell us a bit more about this.
Well, let's stick with the metaphor, shall we? So entrepreneurs get married to their business, absolutely. And once you're married to your business, you're going to have babies. So sometimes the metaphor is your
Absolutely.
business is your baby. Now, no one likes to hear that their baby's ugly, right? So sometimes a business is ugly. In other words, it's not sellable. Sometimes, well, hopefully all the times, our babies grow up and we have to let them leave home and become the successful humans in their own right without us as
Hmm.
parents. So let me get out of the gobbledygook and I'll try and make that all meaningful now. So entrepreneurs are really visionary people. These are the people that when most of the world says that can't be done, the entrepreneurs say, hold my beer, get out of the way, I'll go and do it. Right. And they're different to people who own businesses. Entrepreneurs and business owners are different beasts from what I see. A business owner is great, highly successful people, but they own a business and they're maintaining it and they're growing it steadily and they're pushing it along and they're in a competitive marketplace potentially and they're very successful and they could also, make a lot of money. But the entrepreneurs are these, I'm not going to say weirdos because I know too many of them and have too many of them as friends, but they think differently to the rest of us. And I don't think I'm an entrepreneur. I know I'm creative and I have more ideas than I should, but to be healthy. But entrepreneurs are the ones, they come up with 100 ideas a day and there's about 3 good ones. And
Hmm.
and so why they don't want to leave their business is because they are attached to their business and they need to see what they're going to go on to. Once they exit their business, they need a vision of what they're going to do instead. What's going to get
Hmm.
them out of bed in the morning? So if you want to help them to leave their business, you need to go, right, they need a new vision. They had a vision to start their business. Everyone said they can't do it. They went on and made it happen. So they need a new vision. And once they've got a new vision and they own it and they attach themselves to it, they're going to drop the old one, i.e., they'll sell the business and they'll run on and they'll take the proceeds from this business and they'll create something new, something different, something that everyone else says can't be done,
Absolutely.
whether it's turn the yacht club around or, whatever it is. But it's definitely not sit on the beach drinking pina coladas.
Absolutely, yeah. You will find out that that illusion that, well, when I make the first million, I didn't even notice it. The accountant told me, yeah, and you are like, what? And then you keep going, yeah, and then you will say, oh yeah, I'm going holiday. Well, you go on holiday for a month. After a week, after 2 weeks, you're bored, and you want to come
Exactly.
back, to work. However, the entrepreneurs need to know that what it makes financial sense is for you to start a business that you can exit it, that you can sell, and that you can sell it at the peak. And the reason for that is very simple. You see, there are people, even in this same podcast, there are people that come here that they are wired from 0 to 1, and they have several businesses that made very quickly 0 to 1 million. There are other people that have been very good, 1 million to 10 million. That is what they are really, really good. There are other people that they are good 10 million to 100 million. There are people in this podcast that specialize 100 million to a billion. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you cannot pretend as an entrepreneur or as a business owner that in all those phases of the business, um, you going to be the best in all these skills. That doesn't mean, okay, if you want to be for the whole ride, that's okay. But you do need to be able to learn and unlearn, learn and unlearn, learn and unlearn, because in each phases of this growth, different players are coming, different dynamics is coming. And maybe you like the dynamic to have your own business and to have 10 employees, but maybe when you have 150, 200 employees and a big building, well, maybe it's overwhelming for you. Maybe somebody else had to take care. Maybe you need to exit, you need to do a merge, you have to be in acquisition. However, what is key is that when people start to do the business, they have to be aware that you're building it to exit, that you're building it for 5, 10 years, and you have to put the process in place. For example, that you described that there are some business that they are not sellable. Yeah, I know which ones are not sellable. This business that only depend of the owner. That all the problems, if the owner make the business about itself, well, it's a big problem. I have a cousin, yeah, look at it, and he's telling me very proud, I'm telling no to clients. He have a refurbishment company in UK, and he's telling me, Harry, you won't believe I'm telling no to clients. They need to wait for me because I have so many projects that they wait for me, and some of them I'm telling them no. And I'm telling to my cousin, listen, I know that you're telling me very for me to be proud of you, but let me tell you something. The more you work on your business, you devalue that business. Number one, you don't say no to clients. And number two, you go in and you want to be involved personally in every development that you're doing, which
Yeah.
is restricting you. So you every day that you go and you work with your team along themselves that you think that make them happy and whatever, you are devaluing yourself, you're devaluing that company. And he was a bit confused with what I tell him. So Derek, what is the difference, and can a business that is not sellable can be turned into sellable?
Oh, for sure. And look, why are businesses not sellable? Sometimes it's, as you say, they are highly dependent on the owners or the shareholders because they're the best salespeople in the business or they're the best at delivery in the business. If it's a service business, it's all about them. And as you said, the more they work in the business, the less it's worth. So how do you make a business like that sellable? Well, you've got to gradually extract yourself from the business. And again, we'll go back to that earlier metaphor. If they're married to the business, they feel highly attached to the business. There's an emotional attachment, like a marriage. It's highly emotional. So it's easy for an advisor to say, hey, look, you need to make your business, owner dependent. It's really easy to say, but it's hard to do. So instead of just going, you got to get yourself out of the business, let's break it down into 5 smaller exits. The first exit is you've got to get yourself off the tools, off the front line doing all of the work, and get yourself into a management position. So if you've got £1 million business or you've got a £5 million business, that's a significant business with, you've got a number of people in the business at this stage. So you need a leadership structure, and you've got a hierarchy of leaders now. So the first exit is off the tools and into a management layer. So you're now either a delivery manager, not a delivery person. The next exit is to get yourself out of the functional responsibility and into the CEO role or the head role. So now you're running the business, and your direct relationships are with the managers. So you've had 2 exits now already, and you're still in the business from a day-to-day basis, but now you're running it, and all you're doing is you're setting the vision, you're managing the culture and leading the culture, and you're coaching, you're not playing. You're doing all of the strategy work for the business. Then you can have another exit where you get out of the day-to-day of the business, and you sit on the board, and you have a board-only role, and you're the chairman of the board. Now, because you've set the business up, you've systemized it, you've got structures in place, you've got workflows in place, and you've got, most importantly, really good quality monitoring systems in place, you can now run this business by remote control. It's like, you've got a remote control and you're running the business, you're sitting back. Now, you can't distance yourself too much from the business, because if you look absent, the business will run away from home, to stick with our metaphor. So we don't want that to happen. So we need to just touch the business every now and then in our chairman role. So now I've operated out of any of my employee style roles. I'm now in a control only role on the board. And then my final exit is when I sell my shares and I get off the board and I sell my shares and I've fully exited my business. So how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, and you can do it gradually and gradually, reduce that separation anxiety, if you like, just a little bit at a time, and make it manageable. And you do it over several years, and you hand the business over to the next layer or the next custodians of the business, and you've left a legacy in that scenario.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.